Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my preseason rankings. You're going to see teams that are higher, you're going to see teams that are lower, you're going to see teams that are in the AP rankings that aren't even in my rankings. And it's going to be likewise the other way around. Um, and I hope y'all are having a great day. These are not your typical rankings, okay? But before we get into the video, please press the like button. It would help me a lot as a small this is my first video, so I hope you will press the like button. If you do, though, your favorite team is going to do good this year. I promise you. I promise you. If it's Bowling Green or like Penn State, they win 0-12 last year, but this year they're going to go 11-1. I promise you. They're going to lose to Florida State, which is kind of sad. But anyway, let's get into the video. Yeah, they're going to beat Oklahoma. Leave a comment down below on your opinion on what I say. Okay. Goodbye. So let's start with my ranking, shall we? So at number 1, I have Ohio State, and that might surprise a few people, but honestly, I feel like Ohio State is the best team, and here's the reasons why. Ryan Day, out of all these guys, is probably the best coach, unless you look at Michigan. They can't beat Michigan, but I feel like Ryan Day knows how to win the big games when it matters most. He beat Penn State last year. He beat Texas. He beat Notre Dame. He was winning the games that he needed to. Now, he lost to Oregon. Yes. He lost by 1 point at was it at Oregon? I'm pretty sure it was at Oregon, right? Anyway, sorry. Ohio State knows how to win the playoffs is what I'm trying to say. And to back that up, even though their offensive and defensive coordinator left, they have good people replacing them. Their wide receivers coach is replacing as the offensive coordinator, and we've seen Ohio State basically have wide receivers. Like, it's insane how good their wide receivers have always been. They've been super attractive when it comes to that. Secondly, they have a defensive coach replacing who is from the NFL, so he has experience at a high level. Now, another thing is that Ohio State has the best defensive and offensive player, in my opinion. Ohio State has Caleb Downs, who's a defensive end that transferred from Alabama. He played for us last year. He's one of the best players on defense, definitely this year. I want to say he's the best, honestly. I feel like he is, in my opinion. So, we'll see how it goes for Ohio State when it comes to that. Now, Jeremiah Smith, I think, is the best player on offense. That's my opinion. So, we're going to see a lot. We're going to see a lot. Like, these top three teams are really good, and I expect one of them to win the playoffs, and I hope by my rankings that it's Ohio State. My number 2 team is Texas, and I don't think this is going to surprise a lot of people, but I think we're hyping up Arch Manning a little. That's what I think. And also, I don't feel like Steve Sarkisian is the best coach when it comes to winning big games. We've seen the history of him losing big games. Yes, he can get to the playoffs. Yes, he can get to the SEC or Big 12 championship. But is he able to win the really important games? Yeah, he could win the Big 12 championship, but the thing is, he played Oklahoma State. Remember, like, they weren't that good. They were really a strange team. And I think that Texas is going to have to really prove themselves to me. If they beat Ohio State week 1, then yes, I think Texas is probably the best team. Maybe I'm wrong, because Penn State, I kind of feel like I'm undersizing. But I feel like Texas has talent, that's for sure. Now let's get into their schedule, because it's not easy. They open on the road at Ohio State, which is never the easiest game. Let's be real. Going into the Horseshoe is not easy at all. So, like, we need to appreciate that Ohio State is, like, that's going to be a great game. We need to appreciate that, is what I'm trying to say. The next game is going to be that they have, that's hard on the schedule, sorry, I'm stammering, is Florida. And Florida, they're going to be at Florida. Florida is not going to be the easiest opponent. So, we're going to see if Texas can beat Florida. And if they don't, that's going to create a lot of interesting stuff. Now, I personally think they'll beat Florida, but DJ Lagway is a good player. So let's not take that for granted. Now, they have Oklahoma not long after that in Dallas, and that's not going to be the easiest game either. And then they have Vanderbilt not long after that, and Vanderbilt is not going to be the easiest game either, but they're at home, so that helps. They barely survived Vanderbilt. I'm pretty sure the score was 27-24 last year. So we're going to see if Texas can win. Texas then has Georgia in Athens not too long after that, and that is going to be an interesting game too. So we're going to see a lot of hard Texas football under a young quarterback. It's going to be hard for Arch Manning as a young quarterback, and I feel like I'm hyping up some QBs that are young in the SEC a little, but that may be my mistake. That may not be. So let's move on. They play Texas A&M last, and Texas A&M is a good team. They just have to find out how to really show themselves. They have to be able to hold their team together and keep their potential. So Texas has a real tester this year. That is for sure. So number 3 is Penn State, and I feel like Penn State is a really good team too among the other two, and honestly between these 3, one of them's gonna win. They're all really good teams. We all know that. And I feel like some people are saying, yeah, no, this team is bad. No, this team is bad. One of those 3. Somebody's saying that one of them is bad. Now, I don't feel that way. I feel like everybody's saying that, though, that one of them out of those 3 is bad. Mostly every SEC team saying Ohio State and Penn State suck and that Texas is going to destroy, which I don't think is true. Ohio State and Penn State are really good teams. But Penn State is not going to have the easiest schedule. They play Ohio State, like usual, at Ohio State. So they also play against Oregon, which is going to be pretty interesting. Penn State is going to be playing the 2 best teams in the Big 12, 10, wow, Dom. Big 10 when it comes to other opponents other than them in the Big 10. They also are going to play Nebraska and Indiana, so that is going to be a bit hard. So we're going to see how Penn State can do this year. I can't wait. My number 4 team is Clemson, and I know this may surprise some people, even though they're number 4 in the AP poll, but I feel like Clemson has a really good team this year, just like everybody's making it seem, and I agree with it. I feel like Clemson's team, Dabo Swinney, has been able to recruit very well this year. So we're going to see if Clemson can prove themselves and prove that the good Clemson's back. When they had the Sean Watson, when they had Trevor Lawrence. So we'll see. I cannot wait to see if Clemson has the talent that everybody's saying. I kind of feel like it may be wrong, but at the same time, I feel like they could stand with the top 3. Maybe it's true. They could. I feel like they may win the ACC, but I feel like Miami's a contender too. I feel like SMU may be a contender, and some people may punch me in the face for that, but I don't really care. So we'll see if Clemson can do something special this year. Yeah, that's how I feel about Clemson. I feel like they're really good this year. I feel like they've got good recruiting. So the number 5 team in my rankings is Georgia, and this, I feel like there's really nowhere one else to put at number 5. I don't think Oregon, Notre Dame, or Alabama should be number 5. So I have them at number 5. So let's address this. Georgia does have a hard schedule, and it's going to be a lot for Gunner, Stockton, and the Dogs. So we're going to see how they can handle it. Now, looking at their schedule, they play at Tennessee. They're home against Alabama, but they're on the road against Auburn. They're home against Ole Miss. They're in Jacksonville versus Florida. They're then finishing off with Texas at home, and they're playing clean old hate against Georgia Tech at home. So we're going to see how the Bulldogs can handle their hard schedule. It's not. I don't think it's the hardest in the SEC, but it is sure hard. So we're going to see how they can handle it. I cannot wait to see what happens this year, y'all. I keep saying it, I know. So the next team in my rankings is Oregon. Oregon is number 6. We're going now through 6 through 10. And I feel like Oregon it has a talented team. I feel like that. Evan Stewart is back, and Dante Moore is not a bad quarterback at all. So we're gonna see if the Ducks can do well. Now they do not have the easiest schedule. They play Oklahoma State, who we saw go 3-9, and we couldn't really believe it. But still, Oklahoma State has done a lot of interesting stuff. The next team that is pretty interesting is Penn State. They play at Penn State. They're going to be in College Station. We saw how Penn State handled SMU. Please ignore the SMU banner in the background, not mine. And so we're going to see how Oregon can handle that. The next thing is they go back home and play the Hoosiers, Indiana, who we saw was really good last year. They did really well for Kurt Cignetti's first year. And then they're at Rutgers, go back to home to play Wisconsin, then go to Iowa City to play Iowa, obviously. And on November 11th, they play Minnesota, who seems to have a good team this year. Then they finish off with USC and Washington. So we're going to see if the Ducks can handle it. Now, I'm not sure if Oregon is going to be number 6. It's a little questionable, that's for sure. I kind of felt mixed up when it came to number 6. But I feel like Oregon really deserves. I feel like Oregon not deserved it, but they have proved to me that they are a really good team under Dan Lanning. So I also feel like that even though Dan Lanning isn't working with an as talented team, he's gonna find a way to be good. So number 7 is Notre Dame. Now I don't feel like this is a huge surprise. Notre Dame is definitely going to be somewhat in contention. I feel like they're going to make the playoffs, but their schedule isn't easy at all. They start at Miami, and that's not going to be an easy game, especially if Carson Beck at Miami now, replacing Cam Ward. Then they go back home and play A&M after a bye week. But what I'm saying is they don't start with the easiest schedule. They're going to play Purdue right after, and poor Purdue's probably going to get walked all over like Jesus walking on water, but they then go to Arkansas, then Boise State. They have USC on the 18th of October, Pitt on the 15th of November, and Syracuse on the 22nd. So we'll see how it goes, and they finish off with poor Stanford. And Stanford's probably been the worst team when it comes to the last 5 years in the Power 5 level, or Power 4 rather. They've really struggled. And I'm wearing a Stanford sweatshirt right now, but I really don't mind wearing it because of how much this team sucks. I just don't care. I don't. Number 8 is Miami. So Miami starts at home versus Notre Dame. So that's going to be a competitive matchup, that's for sure. And I can't wait to see if Carson Beck can fit in at Notre Dame. Luckily, they have Mark Fletcher replacing Damian Martinez. And their wide receiver room isn't bad at all, even though they've lost a lot of talent in it. But they have hard games, too. They play versus Notre Dame, versus Florida, versus Louisville, at SMU, and they finish on the road against VTech and Pitt. So it's going to be a hard year for Miami, just like most of these top 10 teams. And I really feel like the reason why these top 10 teams are having such hard schedules is because they think that they're really good and they want to prove that they deserve to be in the playoffs. I think that is the reason why they have such a hard schedule. And that's why we see surprise teams, I feel like. I feel like we see surprise teams because they have easier schedules, in a sense. But they also beat good teams that they have on their schedule. Like, they may have 2 or 3, but they beat, like, 1 or 2 of them out of, like, the 2 or 3. So that's why I think that we get a good amount of surprise teams. So we'll see if Miami can do well this year. Sorry for getting off track, but Miami really needs to prove to themselves and to all the college football fans, including their fans, that they deserve to be in the playoffs. They didn't make it last year. I'm sure they were disappointed. Let's see if they can make it this year. So the next team I have on my top 25 preseason rankings is LSU. And I actually agree with the AP poll on this one, even though I usually don't agree with them because I want to kick them in the shins for how many times they've just made the worst rankings in the world. I just can't stand it. Like, they left Florida State out of, well, that was college football playoffs, never mind, but still, people agreed that Florida State should be left out, which I found ridiculous. But anyway, moving on to LSU's schedule. LSU does play a hard schedule. You know, they start with Clemson, which is not going to be easy, and they're at Clemson. They're not in their own Death Valley. They're at Clemson's Death Valley, and they play at home versus Florida and Ole Miss, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Alabama, and OU. Not a cakewalk at all. So we'll see how they can do. I hope LSU does well because they have a hard schedule. We're going to see, though. I feel like they are going to have success. It's going to be a challenging thing for them. We're going to see if Brian Kelly can finally find something inside. So let's see how the Tigers can do. They've always started off ranked really well, and they've fallen. But I have a feeling because Garrett Nussmeier is coming back this year, that this is the year that they actually do well. I feel like they will do good this year. And number 10 in my rankings is Alabama, and I don't think many people are going to agree with me on this. I've seen a lot of people saying that Alabama should be ranked better, but I don't agree with that. I feel like Miami and LSU have more talent than Alabama. We're acting like Ty Simpson is, I don't know if it's Simpson or Sampson, is going to be a super good quarterback, and I get that he has talent, but it's not like he's Jalen Milroe, y'all. It's not going to be easy for him. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. So we're gonna see if Ty Simpson can do well. I don't know. Jam Miller is out, and really the only player I can think of from there that has talent on their offense is Ryan Williams. So it's gonna be hard for the Crimson Tide. They do not have an easy schedule because they're in the SEC. And look, it's gonna be a challenge. Like, I don't like Alabama. That's probably already been figured out. It's because they're in the SEC, and when it comes to being a brand in the SEC, you for some reason get to be overrated. Like Oklahoma, I looked at the ESPN Power Index, and I look and I go, wow, Oklahoma is expected to go 5-7 in the ESPN Power next hit. We're ranking them 18th. That's a little crazy, don't you think? So we're gonna see if Alabama can do something. In the Power next, they're expected to go 11-1, and I don't think so. They're only expected to lose to Georgia, but they play LSU. They don't play the easiest schedule. So we're gonna see how they can do. They obviously play Tennessee. I'm pretty sure they play Oklahoma again and Vanderbilt. So it's not going to be a cakewalk. They play Auburn. They play Illinois State, Mary Sister of the Blind, rather. And Georgia, like I said, they play Wisconsin, Florida State. Those two are not going to be challenges. Something I wish happens this year, I really hope, is Florida State bounces back insanely. It would be sick, man. I would love to see it. So that's enough of me ranting about Bama, but we're gonna see if Bama can do it, and that really finishes out my top 10. So I'm gonna be a bit quicker listing the next 15 teams because I've been ranting for the top 10, and I feel like that's pretty reasonable. I'm just gonna say a quick note about each one of them. So here we go. So the 11th team I have is South Carolina, and I feel like South Carolina deserves to be 11 because of their amazing defense and Lenore Sellers, my bad. So they are going to have an eventful year. Not to mention, South Carolina does play Alabama at home, though. I didn't mention that when I was talking about Bama, but South Carolina, they have good amount of talent. I feel like they're a good team that could contend for the SEC title, maybe. And like I said earlier in the video, Arch Manning is getting hyped up a little, I feel like. So, yeah. The next team I have is Florida, and the same thing around the QB. DJ Lagway has a bunch of talent, y'all. He is a very good player. He treated Florida State like a dog toy when it came to their pressure. When they pressured him, he was stiff arming, escaping super easily, and was throwing bombs. He is a super good quarterback, so we're gonna see if he can really prove that the Florida team deserves to be the first team out of the playoffs. The next team I have is Arizona State. I'm pretty sure they're ranked 11th. And Arizona State has a great amount of talent, just like most of these teams. I'm expecting them to win the Big 12 championship back to back, considering what my rankings say that they're the first team as a Big 12 team ranked in my rankings. Sam Leavitt, he is a really good player. Jordan Tyson, not to mention, I don't remember if Jordan Tyson came back or not, but if he did, that's even more dangerous for the Sun Devils. Their defense is pretty good. So we're going to see a lot from the Arizona State team. 14 is Illinois. They have a strong program. Love seeing Belema embarrass Beamer last year during their bowl game. Wish I could see it just rerun after rerun after rerun because it was funny. I wouldn't say Illinois is as good as OSU or Penn State or Oregon, but they are still one of the best teams in the Big Ten. They are technically fourth when it comes to the rankings of Big Ten teams. So we'll see how the Illini can really do this year. I'm wondering if they can continue their good play. They had a 5-7 season, I'm pretty sure, in 2023 after a good season in 2022. So we'll see if they do good or bad. And then my 15th team is SMU, and I'm sure there are some people thinking SMU shouldn't even be ranked. I disagree. SMU has a good amount of talent that nobody's even thinking about. One, Kevin Jennings did not do well in the Clemson game. That is true, but I feel like he is a good player still. Clemson game, he didn't do good for 2 quarters, and he did not do good in the Penn State game. But we saw how good he was in the Clemson game. He didn't do well versus Duke, but he still got his team to win. He didn't do well against a good amount of opponents, yet he got this team to he didn't do his very best. Jennings has a lot of talent. He has the ability to become a Heisman winner if he can get to his peak. So we'll see if SMU can be carried by Jennings. That doesn't mean they don't have anything else good. Their defense is nasty. They have a lot of talent on defense. They have Jordan Hudson, who's going to be a very, very good receiver for SMU. So we'll see. So that's 11 through 15. So I'm going to be quick with the next 5 teams because I've been ranting a lot in this video. And it's getting a bit long, and I still have more after the rankings to include. So the first part is that number 16 is Texas A&M. I feel like that Mike Elko may have success this year. I feel like he's going to change things for the Aggies. Number 17 is Michigan. I dropped them a bit considering they just got charged so much money. It's ridiculous how much they got charged, but they deserve it. They literally won a natty because of this, guys. Number 18 is Kansas State. They just lost because this is after week 0. Obviously, I'm shameful to wear this sweater, but I was wearing a Stanford sweater in the original recording, so I might as well. Number 19 is Indiana. Fernando Mendoza from California is going to do something for the Hoosiers. I feel like Kurt Cignetti is not gonna be a one-year Cinderella. And number 20 is Iowa State, and I think I would switch places with Kansas State and Iowa State, but I don't have the energy to. So Iowa State, I'd say, is 18th, and Kansas State is 20th, okay? Iowa State just beat Kansas State, if y'all didn't see that for some reason. They won 24-21. Rocco, there were so many fumbles, it was ridiculous, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It was a sloppy game in the rain. So number 21 is Louisville, and this may surprise some people, but I feel like the Cardinals have a good amount of talent this year. So we're going to see if the Cardinals can hang with the better teams in the ACC like SMU, Miami, and Clemson. Maybe they can't, but I have a feeling that they can. They did last year. They beat Clemson, which was impressive, but we will see, that is for sure. The next team in my rankings is Ole Miss, and here's my opinion on Ole Miss. I feel like Ole Miss is not going to be as explosive and as offensive as we've seen. The Rebels are not as good as we think, is my opinion. They don't have Dart anymore, guys. That's just the honest truth. I'm not saying Dart is the only player on their team, but I feel like that they can't just think that having such a star QB who didn't get enough credit is gonna make them, like, they're still not the best team. Now, they dropped a good amount in the rankings compared to what they finished, but the next team in my rankings is Texas Tech. I agree with the AP. We can't be too hot on them, but I feel like they are a good team. I feel like they may finish better, maybe worse. It depends on how they can work together. They have a young team, that is for sure. But the Red Raiders do have talent, so we will see how it goes for them. And number 24 is Tennessee. They do not have Nico anymore. I'm not going to say his last name because I do not speak Hawaiian or whatever. I don't know. But they are replacing him with a good quarterback. And number 25 is going to surprise some of y'all. Baylor. Baylor, that's right. That's a bit of surprising, but I feel like the Bears do have a ton of talent on the offensive side. Their defense isn't bad at all either. They have a lot of talent with Sawyer Robertson, Pendergrass, and a lot of good wide receivers. So we will see how it goes. These are the teams on the bubble. So now that I'm done with my rankings, let me move on to my Heisman predictions. These are in no particular order. Here are just a few players that I feel like are gonna really have a chance at winning the Heisman. This is in no particular order, like I said. So, the first player that I'm thinking will have a chance of winning the Heisman is Jeremiah Smith. I think that he is the best defensive player, so he probably is my Heisman favorite. Jeremiah Smith has really proved that he is a good player. He helped Ohio State a ton to get to that national title. So I feel like he can get the Buckeyes into a good place once again. So the next player is Lenor Sellers. Now this may surprise a few people rather. But Lenore Sellers is a good quarterback. This is pretty bold of me. I'm going to say that for sure. But he has proved that he has talent. And I think that he may have a chance. It's interesting. He's not second, y'all. Don't worry. He's just a prediction that he may have a chance. Not number 3, but one of my predictions is DJ Lagway. DJ Lagway has proved that he's a good quarterback. It's just a matter of staying healthy for him. So if Lagway can stay healthy, then they can have a great season and he can have a chance at the Heisman. My number 14 player is Kevin Jennings. He's not my fourth prediction, but he's not fourth place, but if he can really find his peak, like I was saying earlier, he can be a Heisman contender. And number 5 is Arch Manning. I'm going to go from here. Number 5 is Arch Manning. My number 6 interest is Jeremiah Love. And number 7 is Cade Klubnik. Those are players that I think that have a chance at really doing something special. So let's move on to my surprise teams, and let's start in the ACC. I have 4 teams from the ACC. That may seem like a lot. I almost added more. But I have a feeling that this conference has a good amount of surprises in them. Number 1 is Duke. They have a good amount of talent on defense. All they need to do is find a good offense this year. Number 2 is Florida State. I feel like that they just need they could really do anything. They could go 1-11 this year. They could go 11-1. We don't know. Number 3 is North Carolina. Gio Lopez is a really good quarterback. Plus, Bill Belichick could really do anything. We have no idea. He's a guy who's won several Super Bowls. In Pittsburgh, with Holstein as their quarterback, could do a lot. The young, talented man has really been special. They started off winning their first 7 games last year, y'all. So we're going to see. And it was their defense that did a lot. Moving on to the Big Ten. Nebraska. The clone of Mahomes is a talented player. Dylan Raiola. Matt Rule has been known to rebuild programs like Baylor. I feel like he's going to do even better than last year. A lot of people saying he may not. But I feel like the Big Ten has a good amount of talent. And then there's UCLA, and the reason why I put them in here is Nico. He transferred here, and if he can find the right targets, if the defense can stand, they may do well. USC is my next team in the Big Ten. I'm wondering if they are finally going to have a breakout year, like a really good year, like reaching the playoffs here, because this is a team that Lincoln Riley probably thought, hey, I can find national championships here. I can be in the college football playoffs. I'm sure he was thinking that when they said that there were going to be 12 teams. Then there's Wisconsin. I only put them here because we just keep waiting on Fickle, man. And Northwestern. Now this may just make people want to shoot me for saying that, but Northwestern is really gotta design themselves around Preston Stone. Stone coming from SMU. Look, I watch SMU football a good amount with this flag here. Hopefully I'm pointing. Hold on. The flag there. Whatever, I can't point. Northwestern has to design themselves around Preston Stone if they want to find a good year. Because Stone has talent, y'all. So we will see what they can do. And then the Big 12 and SEC, the prizes, I only have 1 team from each conference. One is Vanderbilt from the SEC. I feel like Vandy could do something truly special this year. They have so much to, they have nothing to lose. They're such a crappy team. If, they beat a good amount of big opponents, maybe they will break out 7-5 or 8-4. And then Oklahoma State. And the reason I put OSU is because Mike Gundy really needs to bounce back. And the thing about OSU has been the fact that they just aren't really able to keep their players healthy. Mike Gundy really needs to do well this year. He got a warning saying, hey man, if you don't do well this year, we're going to have to fire you. So we will see if Gundy can outperform what everybody's saying. And then there's the group of 5. Let me be quick here. Basically, I'm not even going to give an explanation. Tulane, UTSA, Memphis in the American Conference. All in big cities, by the way. Conference USA, I think Liberty could be good. MAC, Ohio, and Buffalo could be good. And yeah. That's my surprise. And there you have it, everybody. Those are my top 25, my surprise teams, my thoughts on the Heisman contenders. So that's going to do it. You can take it really well or really poorly. You can call me dumb. look, my rankings will not be completely accurate. It's true. So I won't be surprised if there are a few teams that do not do as well as I say, do better than I think. I'm sure that's going to happen. I'm completely sure. The preseason rankings are not ever been accurate, okay? It's just a fact. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you will comment down below your opinion, and yeah, press the like button, because if you do, your favorite team will do good. I promise you. And you guys have a good day. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Crap, it's not. What?